Most of us have played with a Ouija board at a Halloween sleepover. Players sit around the board, usually in a house or room believed to be haunted, place their fingers on a planchette and attempt to contact the dead. The planchette appears to move on its own, spelling out answers to questions you ask. Ouija boards have been called the tools of the devil. It's been said they could lead to being possessed by a demon. After all, not all spirits are friendly. But are Ouija boards actually dangerous? And if they aren't, how do they work? That's exactly what we're going to talk about right now on Life's Biggest Questions. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that asks the questions everyone else is too afraid to ask. I'm your host, Charlotte Dobre, and this is where I ask you to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know in the comments below a question you have always wanted to know the answer to. First, a brief history of the Ouija board. Advertisements for the first Ouija board began to appear in 1891. Newspapers bore the words Ouija, the wonderful talking board. Ouija boards are also known as spirit boards. They are marked with the letters of the alphabet, numbers 0 through 9, and the words yes and no in the top corners. A teardrop-shaped piece of wood or plastic known as a planchette is placed on the board, and everyone playing must place their fingers on it. The planchette moves around the board, spelling out words seemingly by itself. According to Robert Murch, a historian who's been studying the Ouija board since 1992, no one really knows about the origin of the Ouija board, which is weird because they are so iconic. How is it that a board game that is so infamous does not have a definitive origin? Back in the 19th century, Americans had an obsession with spiritualism. The obsession came over from Europe, where it had been prevalent for several years. Spiritualism was consistent with Christian ideals, and contacting spirits was somewhat of a trend. People would attempt to contact spirits at dinner parties, playing various games. One of the games was called a talking board, and it was often used to attempt to contact deceased loved ones who passed away in wars. The Ouija board was officially patented in the 1890s. There are numerous YouTube videos and stories about Ouija boards online. People claim that planchettes whip across the room without explanation. There'll be mysterious deaths following the use of a Ouija board. There have even been reports of Ouija boards triggering demonic possession in individuals or in entire groups. Reports came from Ouija board players who fell into a trance. Back in 2015, 35 students from Bolivia were playing with a Ouija board and ended up in the hospital. They were treated for mental agitation, sweating, confusion, rapid pulses, and trance states. In fact, Ouija boards are extremely popular in South and Central America, in countries where religious beliefs are strong. So how does a Ouija board work? Is it really ghosts who are contacting players, or is there something else going on when you play? Ouija boards are powered by something known as the ideometer effect, which began to be studied in the mid-1800s. It's an example of how our bodies move subconsciously when we're not trying to move. You know when you're about to fall asleep and suddenly your body flinches? Okay, it's sort of like that, except the ideometer effect happens when you're awake. Ouija board players might experience subconscious images and memories. Your body responds by pushing the planchette on the board, even if you might not be consciously doing it. The result is, players spell out answers to questions using the Ouija board. Don't believe me? There have been numerous studies done to prove this, where participants that were blindfolded spelled out incoherent messages. Most accounts about Ouija boards tend to be exaggerated for effect. Psychologists believe people who claim to be possessed are experiencing an effect of extreme stress. Cultural beliefs are also to blame. If people believe in demons or spirits, they are far more likely to be psychologically affected by the Ouija board. According to Psychology Today, the anxiety of believing they are contacting spirits or demons can be overwhelming for some, triggering trance states and even psychotic disorders where people may hallucinate and lose touch with reality. So, to answer the question, are Ouija boards dangerous? I guess they kind of are if you believe in spirits or demons, but in terms of whether or not a spirit is actually moving the planchette, no, they aren't dangerous. A spirit is not moving the planchette. Players are moving it themselves. But don't tell your younger siblings that the next time they're playing with a Ouija board at a sleepover. For now, I'm Charlotte Dobre and you've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, make sure you check out the playlist we put together for you. And don't forget to subscribe to notifications by clicking the bell, and we'll see you in the next video.